Welcome, everybody, to Cinema Royale. I am Travis Hobson of PunchdrunkCritics.com. And on this show, my homie, Chris Bumbray, is joining me to talk about Freelance. Why am I laughing before we even get started here? I'm laughing because, Chris, I saw this movie yesterday. I went to the theater. There were like four other people in the theater with me. And I was laughing because I've been bombarded by messages by people wondering what my review of it is, as if I'm going to spend time writing a review of this damn thing. And I was like, it has a 0% of Rotten Tomatoes. Fine. Okay. That doesn't mean I won't like it personally. It's got John Cena. It's got Alison Brie, who I love. I like both of them, But you think I'm going to actually sit down and write a review of this movie? Hey, no way in hell. The only way I was going to do it is by talking through this movie with you, because there's no way I was going to sit down and spend more time writing my review than they spent on this script for this movie. So
I got to say something though, dude. You're missing out on some good traffic, because I wrote a review of this last week because I was one of the few people that thought,
I'm not worried. There'll be traffic for this review on YouTube.
Yeah.
And we're still going to post it on the site. We're still going to get the traffic. I'm just not going to sit down and spend my time writing the jokes. The jokes will just be verbal.
Oh, dude, man. I was one of the few critics, I guess, to see it because I interviewed Pierre Morel.
They didn't
send me a link.
They wouldn't send me a link either. They wouldn't screen it.
Send me a link. I think the reason I got a link though was it was through the Canadian distributor. I think that's who I emailed you the contact for, was the Canadian distributor, because it's financed partly in Canada, and I'm in Canada right now with my Tim Hortons.
Hey.
But they didn't promote this movie at all though.
Not at all.
Like, dumped it in 2,000 theaters. Dude, they dumped in 2,000 theaters and like without any promotion, and of course it did terribly, considering they're pretty well-known stars and well-liked stars. If this movie had been good, though, it would have sold to Netflix, or it would have sold to Prime. It would have sold to one of the big.
Any reason why this couldn't be on Hulu like freaking Vacation Friends is?
Yeah.
Like, really?
I mean, the thing is, though, when I watched the screener of this,
it's worse than Vacation Friends.
Yeah.
But
I couldn't believe how bad it was when I was watching the screener. Like, it was kind of one of those things like, this should be good. It has the elements. It's got John Cena. It's got Alison Brie. It's got, a good action director. But so many things go wrong in this movie. It's not funny is the big problem, though.
It's kind of like that Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum movie from last year. What was it?
But not as good. Not as good.
No, it's not. But I mean, in terms of like, if people are wondering what a John Cena, Alison Brie action romance would be like, it's kind of like that in terms of like tone. And I think that's what they were trying to go for. In a way,
yeah,
like, but action romance, and it's got, let's tell people what it's about, because honestly, I don't think most people even know.
No,
because it was so poorly promoted. So John Cena plays a former special forces guy, Mason Pettis. He's retired. He's
a lawyer.
He's a lawyer now. He's married with the kids, kind of going through the doldrums of trying to live a domesticated life.
As doldrum as your life can be while married to Alice Eve.
I know. Poor
guy.
Poor fucking guy. Get the fuck out of here. And he's wah. And then, his old military bud played by Christian Slater. Like, what are you doing? He's in
like 5 minutes.
God, Christian Slater shows up looking way older than anybody else in this movie, by the way. Yeah, he's like, how are you two colleagues? In what way? Whatever.
Hard living.
But he shows up, offers Mason a job, a security gig, to get him back into the fold a little bit. And he's protecting this journalist, Claire Wellington, played by Brie, as she goes to, what's the place, Pamplona or Paledonia?
You got a fictional Latin American country.
Latin American country, Paledonia, to interview the leader there, who's actually I like. There's a guy named Juan Pablo Raba, who I don't really know. I think plays the president, Juan Venegas. I actually think he's the only one who made me laugh in the entire movie. He's actually pretty funny. So she's going to interview him. He doesn't usually do interviews and things like that, so it's a big deal for her. She's trying to get her career back after a major flop as a journalist. So basically there's a coup that goes on right as they're doing the interview. So they're trying to get out, and that's the plot of the movie. Basically, they're trying to get out of this place during a coup, and it's like it's also almost like that Seth Rogen Charlize Theron movie from a few years ago. Remember that?
Yeah, sure. Long shot.
The coup happened in the middle of that, like and all that kind of stuff was going on. That movie was actually funny though. This movie,
so many things wrong with this movie though. Like first of all, if you're going to do a romantic comedy, have some romance in it. They set it up that he's married and that he's not interested in her in a romantic way. And there's a brief flirtation, but there's no romance to it. And I feel like they're trying to make John Cena
chemistry.
And they're trying to make him into like The Rock, where he's like this oddly asexual hero in all of his movies, right? Where he's never got a love interest, and it's all if he does, it's so tacked on and there's no chemistry. It's like him and Emily Blunt in Jungle Cruise, where it's like there's a peck on the cheek, there's no spark or anything like that, and it's like they don't want the fans to see them as love interests because it's too much of a pussy type thing, which I hate, and
I
it's
they don't. Yeah. I think they see it as weakness,
which is so stupid,
Yeah, I think if they show it as they see it as weakness, which is like I can't stand it. These two have zero chemistry.
They don't allow them to have any chemistry, and like it could have been funny because they're like opposites physically and stuff like that. Although Brie is in really good shape though, as seen in like that kind of little semi-nude scene, like she's tight, so it's so
as you can see in the corner of my background graphic there is a bit of semi-nudity in the movie during one of those scenes where it's like, oh my god, will they or won't they type awkward
spoiler alert, won't they won't but it's just but I mean, like the comedy is so bad, and the just the petit joke, because petit means small, and over and over and over again.
His last name is Pettis, so he's going to pronounce as petite.
And then it has the worst musical score. It's got this sitcom-y score, like every time something's happening.
You know what that score is like? It's like French action movies trying to be American action movies type music.
Yes.
I hate it. Luc Besson has produced loads of bad action comedies with that type of thing, and I'm like, oh my god, it's horrible.
It was the same thing that was in that Van Damme movie, The Last Mercenary, too. It's that stupid fucking music that they have in all these things, like it was awful. And it just like droning on and on and on and on and on. And it was like, the action scenes weren't actually that bad at times. And if it had a good score and they had actually tried to have some tension of them, it might have been decent. Like I thought that Cena versus Martin Zakis at the end of the movie was actually decent, because I did like that they made Cena
is always a credible dude in most things.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and they made like Cena physically more, fragile than like the typical action star. The Rock wouldn't have played the role like he did.
Yeah, at least he had the excuse of being out of the game for a while. He's been behind a desk,
and his back is fucked up.
His back is jacked up. Yeah, he's got an excuse for not getting not dominating Martin Sokus or something like that. Like he probably,
which is funny too. Zokas always plays bad guys, but I've interviewed him. And I interviewed him at TIFF, and he's legit one of the nicest guys. He's like a big Australian bloke, though, like not like he is in the movies. Like, oh, mate, hey, and he's just kind of like, it was as we were at TIFF. It was for the Equalizer, and he was like, he had a schedule of movies, and he's like, hey, wait a second, before you leave, can you look through the schedule and tell me if any of these are good, and blah 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 blah. And I was just thinking to myself the whole time, I was like, this is the guy that was with Eva Green when she was making The Dreamers.
Yep.
I wanted to hate him, but I ended up loving him.
No, he's actually decent in this. And like I said, I like the guy who plays the president. I think he's actually really funny. He's kind of arrogant in that dictatorial sort of way. Like nobody has ever told him anything like bad, probably because they're afraid of getting killed if they did. So he's kind of like that kind of guy. He's actually really funny, much funnier than John Cena was, who looked embarrassed at some of the jokes he had to tell in the movie. And you usually can't spot that sort of thing. John Cena looked kind of embarrassed at how bad.
Yeah, like he doesn't really know what he's doing. And it's like, and I think he has a good enough idea of comedy that I think he realized everything was just falling flat, and I think he knew probably within a couple of days they started shooting this movie that, oh fuck, it's not
I
working. It's not.
guarantee you, Alison Brie knew it too because she
Oh yeah. Oh
really
yeah.
funny on her own. She can make bad material good in most cases, but she couldn't help this movie. And I guarantee you, she felt the lack of chemistry with her and Cena. I guarantee you, she felt every line she delivered was a dud. It's so
Yeah.
bad.
I think they're probably relieved that the strike happens. They don't actually have to go out and promote this movie because I can
Oh
imagine that.
God. Oh God,
Yeah.
that would have been rough.
It would be rough. It would be rough when everybody hated your movie. It's a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
0%. It's hard to get that, man. It's hard to get 0%. It won't stay that way. There'll be some critic out there who gives that joint a positive somewhere, some blogger. It's not going to be me, folks. I'll probably post this actually on Rotten Tomatoes so I can at least have my voice in there. So let me just say now, my quote is, "Freelance is an utter disaster that I can't believe John Cena and Alison Brie agreed to be a part of." That's my quote. So there you go.
I don't even see Freelance for free.
Right? I mean, so we mentioned the director, we mentioned Pierre Morel, I mentioned Luc Besson. Pierre Morel is one of his many proteges, kind of like Olivier Megaton and guys like that.
I like Morel more than Olivier
the Luc
Megaton.
Besson system.
That's some bad
movies. And they're both very good, very hit or miss, right? Like they both have a couple things that like are really work. Pierre Morel directed one of the best action movies ever, District B13. I fucking love it.
Oh my God, yeah. That movie is legitimately a classic.
Yeah, it's a fucking classic. Don't ignore the sequel, and please ignore Brick Mansions, but
the sequel is so bad, and Brick Mansions is just like the same type of thing with a director that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, and that's what happens. Like it's
but
Morel's direction on District, I forgot about that too. His direction on that movie was amazing.
It's incredible. It's so kinetic. He was like Gareth Evans before Gareth Evans.
Yeah, that chase scene, that parkour chase with David Bell at the first one is one of the best action scenes like of the last like 30 years.
Yeah, it's incredible. And then he also made Taken, which whatever you think about that movie, it was a hit and it sparked a franchise.
Yeah, and it reinvented Liam Neeson's career.
Liam Neeson's career. So the guy has credentials. Mm-hmm. And like you said, the action sequences in this movie aren't awful, but there's not much else to this movie at all. I felt bad for him too, actually, because I think
so.
He probably entered into this thinking, how can this miss?
Yeah, and I would have thought I couldn't miss either. When I heard about the premise of the movie and like it was being made, I was like, "Oh, this can be really fun," and it's not.
No, it's woefully not. It's embarrassing.
It made me think of a movie I loved as a kid, though. Did you ever see Moon Over Parador with Richard Dreyfuss?
Yeah,
I used to love that movie as a kid. That's what made me think of that movie a little bit. Like overthrowing a dictator type thing. It made me think a little bit of that.
Raul Julia. I haven't thought about that movie in ages.
Wow. I love that movie. Raul Julia.
Wow. I need to revisit that one.
Sonia Braga. Yeah. Dreyfuss is really good in that.
Listen to the names of the people you're saying. Richard Dreyfuss, Raul Julia, Sonia Braga. It's like,
Dana Delaney. Yeah. Paul Mazursky. It's good. It's a fun movie. Mel Torme. Sammy Davis Jr. is one of his last roles.
God, I love Dana Delaney.
Yeah, me too. I'm Twitter friends with her. And Sammy Davis Jr. It's like one of his last roles as himself, and he's really, really funny in it. Yeah.
Oh man, Freelance. Yeah. It was funny because in the theater I was at when we were watching it, there were very few laughs, right? But there was like this one couple in the back.
There's always that one couple.
There's one couple in the back who laughed a little too hard at things. But then there was the scene where they were flirting and they looked like they might almost make out. And then when it didn't happen, the lady in the back said, "Fuck off." Like, this is bullshit.
The worst experience I ever had with that, with somebody laughing hysterically at something that wasn't funny, was when I went to see Wild Hogs. Oh my God. There was this woman that was sitting in the theater. Like, I thought she was going to die. She was laughing so hard. Like, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. She was like De Niro in Cape Fear, dude. Like, crazy. And then she was like, at every time it happened, oh my God. Oh my goodness. Oh. And it was just like, it was the, oh my, she was driving me nuts.
I guarantee you that lady sees like 2 movies in a theater per year.
Oh yeah, it's probably amazing. Yeah.
Right. And that movie probably had like one actor that she'll pay to see anything that
Oh, John Travolta.
John Travolta.
John Travolta. I'm going to see the new John Travolta.
I hope she paid for Gotti then. If that's the way she feels about John Travolta, I hope she paid for Gotti. Or whatever that awful movie was that he did for his friend a couple years ago. I don't remember what the name of it was.
Gotti was like the rock bottom, like, oh my God.
Or that electrician movie that he did like a little while ago too, where it's like,
Life on the Line. They made a sequel to it. They made a sequel to it that he's not in. Apparently,
what? They made a sequel to that?
Yeah. I don't know if even Dan Sawa's
back
that
get by me.
Yeah, there's like a Life on the Line too, I think.
Neil Hirsch in that shit or something like.
Yeah, he's in all those now. Hold on, let me see. Life on
Dude. Oh my God. I didn't know he made a sequel to that.
Yeah, Life on the Line 2 Big Earl is what it's called. No.
Actually,
no, I think I'm mistaken. I don't think they did make a sequel to it. They should.
No, they should. They should not. Oh my God, man! Look at Freelance.
The song was by the Hootie from Hootie and the Blowfish. I remember it was like,
that doesn't surprise me.
Life on the Line.
That doesn't surprise me. Jesus, man! Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, Freelance. Why couldn't this movie have been good? I really wanted it to be good. I remember when they put the trailer out. I was like, this might be okay. I don't know.
The trailer didn't make me laugh, and I thought it's probably going to be bad, but I was holding out hope because I was like, Alison Brie and John Cena can't be bad though. Like, that's such a great
take active steps to like make these two not work. And who wrote the script for this? Did they like do something else? Because I feel like that person should probably be fired.
Chat GPT.
Right? Jacob Lentz. I don't know who that is. I feel like this might be his first screenplay.
And last.
It should be his last. Seriously though, some people, when you fail like bad enough, it should probably be the end.
I mean, who knows though what happened? Like, maybe the script was hilarious. Maybe they got to the set and then like he was like fucking Cena was like, I'm funnier than this. Blah, 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 blah.
Too many editors got their hands in it. They're like, let's mess with this. I don't think that happened. I think this shit was terrible from the start.
He's a Jimmy Kimmel writer, but this is his first credit in like 10 years. So it's kind of interesting.
Makes sense. You and I could write a better movie than this.
Yeah.
A funnier movie than this. This is the kind of thing, because John Cena, because during the actor strike, John Cena has been back in professional wrestling full time. He's been on SmackDown every single week. He's wrestling next week at the big Crown Jewel show in Saudi Arabia. So he's getting that big Saudi Arabia blood money. So he's doing that sort of stuff to get paid. And also he always comes back to wrestling when he's got a movie out.
Of course. Promoting without promoting it, sure.
Right. That's what he does. So he probably was like, maybe I could help boost some sales for this movie. I guarantee you most of those $2 million that this movie made, which is a horrendous amount, by the way, was like all wrestling fans. You're like, John Cena.
His career will recover from this, though. He's not going to have a problem. I kind of hope, though, that somebody finds Brie a role that like she deserves. Like, it's such a sad thing that they canceled Glow, because that was such a good show and it was such a good role for her. Like, that they got screwed with that show.
What show was that?
Glow.
Oh yeah, Glow. Yeah, she got screwed by that.
That show was
had 3 good seasons though. And on
Netflix, but they needed to do that last one.
No, they definitely did. Or at least do like a hour and a half movie to wrap it up.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me that Alison Brie hasn't broken out more. But there's also part of me that thinks that part of it is her also. Like, I feel like
I don't think she wants to be a huge star.
Her and Dave Franco, neither one of them are as big a stars as they probably could be if they wanted to. And it seems like they're actively taking active steps not to. Now, on paper, a movie like this would seem to cut against that, because it seems like it's like if Universal had picked it up, like it'd be in 4,000 theaters and it'd probably be, whatever. But,
I feel like she was like, nobody's going to see this. Big check.
Maybe so. Maybe so. Good Lord. Oh, well, Freelance is an utter disaster, you guys. And if it does happen to be in your town and you can see it, uh, don't. So
Morel was talking to me about doing a sequel about it. My interview with him. There ain't going to be a sequel.
that's wishful thinking.
There
That's
ain't going to be a
that's
sequel.
French thinking. That's the guy who's seen like 10 taxi sequels in
Yeah.
France. Right? That's that guy. He's
Yeah.
directed one of them. There's been so many of those bad taxi sequels. He's probably directed one of them. He sees that as like, yeah, it could happen, but
Yeah. Yeah. If it was a French movie, it probably would happen. That's the thing. They probably would do another one, even if it flopped. Dude, there's been talk about doing an Expendables 5. It lost $100 million. I'm sure that the Expendables movies, though, dude, I think that they're like money laundering schemes. I really do. There's something to it. There's no way it cost $100 million like they said it did. There's no fucking
I
way.
mean, all these movies,
Unless they paid Stallone $85 million, there's no way that movie
all
cost
these
100.
movies made by the producers from like Uzbekistan or whatever, and you're
Yeah.
like
Oh,
really, who's financing these movies?
yeah. It's a little. Sometimes you're like, what? What even is this? I remember when I interviewed Rennie Harlan a couple years ago about that movie he did with Pierce Brosnan that was shot in Dubai. It was all financed by this like diamond merchant who wanted to become an action star, right?
Yeah.
And he was like lead. And it was just like when I was interviewing Harlan, he did anything not to talk about that movie. He was just like, because even though he was promoting it, he was like, as I was like, I asked him a question. He's like, yeah, I guess so. And then I'm like, it was a great movie, Cutthroat Island. And he's like, fuck yeah. And then he went on, and it was like super into talking about everything. And then when I would ask him about the movie, he'd be like, oh well, yeah.
He's probably got an NDA. He can't talk
Well,
about
there were
the
a bunch of
movie.
lawsuits. Tons of lawsuits were flying after that movie, though. It's crazy. I don't know if Pierce Brosnan never got paid or something like that.
Jesus Christ. Somebody needs to do, maybe it has to be a Joe Blow article. Sketchy movies of the 2010s or
Yeah,
something.
there's been a lot of them, and it's like some of these things. Like, how do they keep making these movies? Or remember that company Franchise Pictures with Warner
Oh yeah.
Brothers?
Oh yeah.
And they were inflating their budgets by like $30 million, and that was how they got caught. Because they would say, "Oh, Battlefield Earth cost $100 million," and then you watch the movie and it looks like garbage because it only costs $40 million.
Right.
That was the thing.
Right.
They were just inflating their budgets.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Look at where you've taken us, Freelance. This is where you've taken
Yeah.
us. This is the route we've
Yeah,
gone.
shady action movies.
Thanks to
If
you.
they do a Freelance 2, it's like that speed that something's going on there.
You know what? This would be a fun thought experiment. Imagine there is a Freelance too. Obviously,
The
John
guy
Cena.
be like, it was
Obviously,
a
John Cena and
blockbuster in
Alison Brie.
Belarus.
Obviously, John Cena and Alison Brie don't come back for it. That's obvious. Who's the guy who's willing to front that
Like
sketch?
what wrestler could do it? Like CM Punk or something like that. And
It wouldn't be a wrestler that would do it. It wouldn't be a wrestler that
no,
would
I feel for sure it would be a wrestler, like a
it'd be
lower
like
tier
some
wrestler.
grade actor like Kellen Lutz or somebody who would do it. Like, be like, I feel like
Kellen
Kellen
Lutz.
Lutz has probably starred in 20 of those sketchy,
Or
possible.
Cam Gigande.
Yes, yes,
Cam Gigande.
yes. Those two
I
guys.
loved Cam Gigande setting himself up in Violent Night, though. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, he hasn't done a good movie since. What was that? Never. Was that some movie he did a while back? I can't remember what it was.
The movie with that guy who did that thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what's funny though? Expendables 3 was on TV the other night. Do you know that one of the Expendables that nobody cared about, the young guy, was Glenn Powell?
Yes, I do remember that.
Where he got famous, and it was like, whoa, he must have knew he was in a dog. That probably set him back a couple years, that movie.
Hey man, Glenn Powell was trying to make it, man. He's trying to break out from screen
Yeah.
scenes, man. He's trying to I gotta get off of TV and get into movies. That's what he was trying to do. He's doing whatever he had to do. And so I don't blame him. He was one of those lousy extra Expendables. I want the movie about all the Expendables who ain't there no more. Like I want to
Yeah,
about all those guys and why they left. Like the Wesley Snipes character, like where'd he go? Like what happened to Jet Li? He seemed like he was going to be like popping up
back
every
to
all the
jail. He's
time.
still not paying taxes, so he's back in jail. But he's the president of a sovereign nation, which is just his house. He can't leave. Or no, they could do. I always thought that Schwarzenegger and Jet Li at the end of Expendables 3 were like a couple because they're making jokes about it. You see them like operating like a Chinese food restaurant or like a sandwich shop somewhere.
Right.
They have like a food truck, the
Yeah.
two of them.
Yeah, and he got like an armory in the in the freezer or something like that. Like you open the fridge and there's
Oh,
like weaponry in there.
The funniest ending like that ever was in the Death Race remake where Statham
I
and
love
like
those, by the
Tyrese
way.
are enemies. What?
I love those movies, by the way, all of them.
Yeah, yeah, but oh really?
Even though
With the ones with Luke.
sequels that went straight to DVD, I love those movies. Those movies are fun. I don't give a shit.
I love Death Race. I did like Death Race. It was all shot in Montreal, but at the end of the movie, the end of the movie always made me laugh because like Tyrese and Statham are like enemies the whole movie, but then
Yeah.
like Statham finds out he's gay, and then like the next scene they're like best friends, and then you see them like they're living together on the beach with like his daughter, and it's very clear they're in like some kind of gay relationship, and then the chick shows up, and then they're looking at her like, oh, what are you doing here? Just like interrupting their idyllic life together.
You watch the movies after that?
No, never. I
The
did
movies
like
after
that
that,
Death Race though.
the movies after that were kind of like Saw, like the way they like each one had like a twist, like some
Uh,
major twist to explain like all the shit that was going on. Like three or four different people were like under the mask and all sorts of weird shit. They added all sorts of lore to it. It actually was actually really fun, but they're stupid also.
well, I liked that Death Race though because I thought that was a good role for Statham, and I really liked Tyrese in it. I thought he was super fun,
Yeah,
like chewing the scenery. And Ian McShane and Joan Allen was great in it too. Like it was one of Paul W.S. Anderson's better movies, I think.
agreed. He stayed on those sequels as like a producer and all that other shit. So, as he usually does.
I couldn't believe that Luke Goss turned out to be. He's super famous in the UK as like a boy band member. Bros.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you didn't know.
I knew he was famous elsewhere, but not here. That's what I.
Super famous in the UK. Like Bros is a huge band over there, and they did a documentary about them where they reunited like a couple years ago, and it's really funny. And it's like, and like Luke Goss, like they're kind of poking fun at his career, where it's like he moved to the US to become an action star, and they were showing like some clips from his movies that made him look like he was terrible, but he's actually not bad.
Right.
And they were just poorly chosen clips, but
So what you're saying
yeah,
is, what you're saying is Lance Gross for Freelance too.
Dude, Lance Goss though, it's like it was like he was in like the Belle Biv DeVoe of fucking England. Like that was the kind of band. Dude, seriously.
This has been too fun. We stopped talking about Freelance a long time ago. This is great because that movie doesn't.
Like, wow, it's an hour-long Freelance interview.
That's how I knew it would go. It's why it's more fun to talk about it than to actually sit down and write about it. There's no fucking way I was going to do that. There's no goddamn way. Oh man, I really want there to be a sequel. I really want there to be a sequel.
Luke Goss,
some lesser actor,
Luke Goss, and like Nikki Wayland or something like that.
Who's the chick? Like who's gonna?
Yeah, Nikki Wayland. Nikki Wayland could do it. Maybe I like her though. She's nice, but she's gorgeous. But or like Grillo. If Grillo's career comes off a bit, like I could see him doing Freelance too.
If this were like 2008, it'd be like Amy Smart.
Yeah.
Like Amy Smart would be the woman.
I like her. Where's she been? She should come back.
I like her too. I'm sure she's still making movies somewhere.
Yeah.
Always had a thing for Amy Smart.
Oh, me too.
Then again, who didn't? Who of our age didn't have a thing for
Of course. She was like the dream girl kind of. Yeah.
They right loved her. Amy Smart. Oh man, this has been too fun.
Ali Larder. I had a huge Ali Larder
fetish. Ali Larder has been my number one for like 2 decades. So,
oh really?
She's still gorgeous.
The whipped cream bikini in Varsity Blues did it for me.
She's still gorgeous. I watched Final Destination the other day, not a few weeks ago. So I was like,
Oh man.
Allie Larder, man. She was the only reason why I watched Heroes.
Yeah, yeah.
Heroes sucked, and I still watched it because of her. Anyway, this has been too much fun, man. Talking freelance. This is the only way I would have done it was with talking with you, though. I wouldn't have done it with anybody else.
Well, I like schlocky action movies as much as anyone else. So, I was actually looking forward to it, but it just disappointing. Yeah.
I was upset to hear that.
I hadn't gotten a link to it. If I hadn't gotten a link to it, I would have been like you. I would have gone to see it this weekend. I totally would have.
Yeah.
Totally would have gone to see it just because it's an action movie with like a couple people that I like in it. I always go see those movies. So, I would have for sure ended up going to see it. I would have been one of the few people that went to see it.
The thing that bugs me is I would like to see John Cena and Alison Brie and Pierre Morel in a movie that's not this.
Yeah, me too.
I see them in something that's not this.
Just change the fucking. I think even if they had changed the score to this movie, it probably would have been better, a little bit better. That fucking score, man. Jesus.
Oh my God. All right. If we start talking about freelance again, we'll never get off of here. Thanks again, Chris Bumbray, for joining me.
I have a job, dude.
Thanks for joining me to talk about freelance. It's got a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's probably not going to change anytime soon.
Yeah, this is going to go to the positive side, I don't think.
Yeah. It's going to be funny though who's going to be that first person to give it that thumbs up review. I don't know who it's going to be, but it ain't going to be
somebody we know.
Oh man. Anyway, thanks again everybody for tuning in. This has been a great time. Join me every week on Cinema Royale and of course on punchdrunkcritics.com. All right, see you guys later. Goodbye.
Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.